Our first speaker will be Theresa Boisseau. And here's a bunch of handy email address or websites you can all look at if you want to. We'll have those later on, so you don't have to worry about popping them all down right now. Okay, Theresa is a graduate of the University of Texas, Austin, has lived in the Austin area since 1985. After teaching in Austin ISD for 8 years, she and a sibling took the baton and today carry on the legacy of their parents, two of the first 50 agents at Keller Williams Realty. Theresa is confident that the skills learned through her decades-long involvement in the family business will prove invaluable. So please help me welcome Theresa Boisseau. You have 10 minutes, and then we'll have a couple minutes for questions.
10 minutes. Wow, that's a luxury.
All right.
I probably won't take quite that long.
Okay, that's fine.
First of all, thank you, North Shore Dens, for having me. Some of you I met a few weeks ago. I forget, Mike, when that was, but thanks for having me again, and thanks, Keith, for all the great discourse that we've had over the campaign trail. As many of you know, I got into this race because of my daughter, and I continue on this race for you all and people across the district. We all know that we need to have good representation in Congress to ensure that women do not have to go out of state for health care and to save their life. We also want to have a grid that stays on and doesn't go off. I know the other day when I was getting dressed and I turned the light on in my closet and I was like, oh my gosh, bad weather's coming, I hope it stays on. We don't want to have to live through that again. And I also feel like there are some crucial conversations going around in the district with everybody that I've met. I've traveled over 3,500 miles now since I started this in October. And I just keep driving home the point of why I'm doing this, talking to all of you and having great conversations. Today is a little different because on Tuesday the polls are going to open up and everyone across Texas is going to have to make some tough decisions on which candidates they want them to represent their hopes and dreams and also have a real shot of representation in Congress. What we need is someone who will unify people around important issues and not what they think people want to hear or their own beliefs. But through the conversations that we've had, I believe that we have an organization that can win in November and get things done in the U.S. Capitol. That's what our campaign has been about since the beginning, and that's what it has done over the last few months. Our campaign didn't just make meetings, we showed up and stayed late across the district, whether here in Lago Vista or in LaGrange. What has come of this is earning almost every endorsement and favorability rating in this race. We've connected and built infrastructure in places Democrats haven't seen since Ann Richards was an elected official. We now stand alone as the campaign ready to take on the general election. Democracy is beautiful, and it's also divisive. The only way we are going to save the beauty is to come together as Democrats. The Trump Republican Party spends money to divide us from each other because that's what authoritarians do. They have power when we, the American people, are alone. My grandfather died facing a dictator in Haiti. I know what is at stake this year, and I will not let America sink into dictatorship. You have no doubt seen my opponent, the incumbent, selected to serve as a manager for the sham impeachment process. His office will waste hundreds of hours of time to pretend the American people, the Republicans, aren't allowing our immigration problem to be solved. Time and money that should be spent on issues we have around the district. Issues like I mentioned before, ensuring that women don't have to uproot their life to stay healthy and alive, that people don't lose their health care because they are laid off. The issues we face don't care about an R or a D after our names. Only the people who seek to manipulate them to their advantage do. We are Americans who have been separated by a pandemic, by outsized corporate spending in our own affairs, by completely being ignored by many who seek to represent us. This year comes in bringing America together through our shared struggles. I'll close with this. It's not lost on me that the founding fathers of our country, who could only agree on a few things, still forged a new journey together into the unknown darkness and chose the motto that reflected their discussions: E pluribus unum, out of many one. Together we can do extraordinary things that have positive consequences for years to come. That spirit and yes, hard work of coming together is how my campaign is going to keep going all the way to November to achieve results in District 10 up and down the ballot in Texas. I'd appreciate your support and your vote. If you haven't already mailed in your ballot, early voting starts on Tuesday. I also would appreciate your support by following all my stuff on social media. It's the same, Theresa for Texas. Subscribe to our website. I send out regular emails. And on Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and Instagram. And we've been putting out regular information for people to see about the campaign, where I've been and what I've already done. A little bit about myself for those of you who don't know. I've lived in the same house for almost 17 years. I've been active in my community for a long time, including a lot of pro bono work. Volunteered for an organization called Impact Austin. That is a consolidated giving group. Gather money from the members and hand out $100,000 grants to needy entities around Austin. We are almost at the 3-year anniversary of what really kicked me into gear to do this, and many of you heard this when I was here a few weeks ago. At the end of the storm, my daughter, who happened to be here in Austin because of COVID from college, was sitting in our living room, and I looked over at her and she had a horrible look on her face, and I asked her what was wrong. And she said, "What's the point? The world is a mess," at 19 years old. In addition to everything I had done, I got even more active. I did the march from Georgetown to Austin against the voting bill that the Republicans were pushing in 21, and I testified in front of the House Committee on Elections. Sadly, they voted for that bill. I did volunteer on I actually got paid some for an election in 2021, and then in 2022, I worked as campaign manager pro bono for a Round Rock School District trustee. I worked together with building relationships across the district, and we defeated Moms for Liberty, who had funneled in tens of thousands of dollars into our district. I have the framework, I have the relationships in place already across the district, and that's why I'm asking for your support to keep on going. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Theresa?
Maybe later.